In the world of combat sports, there are a few names that echo through the history of fighting, names that carry the weight of sheer dominance and power. Two of those names stand out above the rest: Mike Tyson and Francis Ngannou. Imagine the raw power of the baddest man on the planet, in his prime, facing off against the monstrous force that is Ngannou, a man whose knockout power has turned him into a living legend in the MMA world. What would happen if these two titans, both known for their terrifying power and unparalleled athleticism, met in the same ring? The clash of styles, the intensity, and the stakes would make this one of the greatest fights the world has never seen. Mike Tyson, the youngest boxer ever to become a heavyweight champion, was a force of nature in the 80s and 90s. His speed, his ferocity, and his almost supernatural knockout power made him the most feared boxer on the planet. Tyson's ability to end a fight in an instant, often before his opponents had a chance to even react, was a terrifying thing to witness. When he entered the ring, the world held its breath, and his opponents could only pray for the bell to ring before they found themselves crumpled on the canvas. Tyson's punches were more than just strikes. They were declarations of destruction. Now, let's look at Francis Ngannou, a man who grew up in poverty in Cameroon with dreams of fighting in the UFC. Overcoming nearly insurmountable odds, Ngannou became one of the most feared knockout artists in the history of MMA. His punches have sent fighters crashing to the mat, and his size and strength are enough to make even the most seasoned fighters hesitant. But it's not just his physical attributes that make him so dangerous, it's the way he carries himself. Ngannou has an aura of menace that's almost palpable. His rise through the UFC ranks has been nothing short of extraordinary, and he solidified himself as a champion who embodies pure, unfiltered power. Now, picture these two warriors in the same arena. Tyson, at the height of his career, with lightning-fast reflexes and a jaw-crushing left hook, squaring off against Ngannou with his monstrous fists and a reputation for delivering one-punch knockouts that make spectators cringe in disbelief. The stakes would be higher than ever before. Two men with nothing left to prove, fighting not for titles, but for the pride of knowing who truly reigns as the king of power. The clash between Tyson's legendary style and Ngannou's brutal force would be a battle of contrasting worlds. Tyson, with his technique and unmatched ability to control the pace of a fight, would look to use his superior speed to break down the towering Ngannou. Tyson's head movement, his lightning reflexes, and his constant pressure could force Ngannou to make mistakes, opening the door for Tyson's devastating counterpunches. On the other hand, Ngannou's size and strength would make it difficult for Tyson to close the distance without risking getting caught by one of those crushing blows. Tyson has faced some of the best in the boxing world, but Ngannou's unique style, honed in the brutal environment of mixed martial arts, could pose an entirely different kind of challenge. Imagine the tension as they step into the ring. The crowd is on edge, knowing they're about to witness something truly historic. Tyson, with his intimidating glare and his almost primal energy, seems unbothered by the enormity of the occasion. He's been here before, he's fought some of the greatest, and he knows how to handle the pressure. But Ngannou? He's ready to unleash a storm. The Cameroon native has faced the best fighters in the world, and now, standing in front of Tyson, he knows this is the kind of challenge that will define his legacy. As the bell rings and the fighters come to the center, the atmosphere shifts. The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Tyson moves like a predator light on his feet, shifting constantly, trying to find the perfect angle for his attack. Ngannou, by contrast, is a wrecking ball, calm, composed, but with an unmistakable intensity in his eyes. The first few seconds are crucial. Tyson must move quickly, landing clean strikes before Ngannou can set himself for a heavy counter. Tyson's movement, his ability to dodge punches, and his aggressive head fakes could make it difficult for Ngannou to land that one decisive blow. But Ngannou's patience could be his greatest weapon. If Tyson leaves an opening, Ngannou will exploit it with terrifying accuracy. The crowd is silent for a moment, as if everyone is holding their breath. Tyson slips inside, firing off a jab followed by a body hook, testing the waters. Ngannou absorbs the punches, his eyes never leaving Tyson's movements. With every second that ticks by, the anticipation builds. The first major exchange could change everything. Tyson knows this fight isn't about how much punishment he can take. It's about how quickly he can find Ngannou's weak spot. But can he get inside that devastating reach? Can he close the gap without falling victim to one of Ngannou's signature punches? But just when it looks like Tyson might land a crushing combination, Ngannou counters with a heavy right hand that seems to shake the very foundations of the arena. Tyson is momentarily staggered. Could this be the end? Stay tuned for the next part of this epic showdown. The tension is about to explode. Who will emerge as the true king of power? The crowd gasps as Tyson stumbles back from the force of Ngannou's right hand, his head snapping to the side. It's a momentary shock, a moment where time seems to slow down. Tyson's bodyguards in the back, the loyal supporters who've watched him rise to greatness, are holding their breath, knowing that Tyson's durability has been tested before. But this is a different kind of threat. Ngannou isn't just another man with power. He's a machine of destruction, a product of relentless training and unimaginable willpower. And yet, Tyson's resilience, his ability to recover, has always been his hallmark. This fight isn't just about physical might, it's a battle of wills. As Tyson regains his balance, the look in his eyes sharpens. His instinct for survival kicks in. It's not about trading blows with Ngannou. It's about making the most of every fleeting opening. Tyson has faced the best of Evander Holyfield, Larry Holmes, and Lennox Lewis, but none of them were quite like Ngannou. The sheer force of Ngannou's punches has a weight that can shake even the strongest men. Yet Tyson's footwork, his bobbing and weaving, is like a dance in the ring. It's not just a physical skill. It's the product of years of experience, a kind of artistry that allows him to slip past danger and retaliate with precision. The stakes of this fight go far beyond the personal triumph of one man over the other. Tyson represents the old school of boxing, an era where power, speed, and technique reign supreme. His name is etched into the history of the sport, a symbol of dominance in a time when heavyweights ruled the world. Tyson's legacy is built on his ability to intimidate opponents before the first punch is thrown. But as the seconds tick by, it becomes evident Ngannou is no longer intimidated by the name. The fear that once surrounded Tyson has evaporated in the heat of battle, replaced with the silent confidence of a man who believes he belongs at the top. Ngannou's journey to this moment is as compelling as it is inspiring. Born into extreme poverty in a small village in Cameroon, Ngannou's early life was filled with hardships most people can barely imagine. From the age of 12, he worked in quarries, lifting heavy rocks by hand, building the strength that would eventually make him one of the most feared men in combat sports. His dream of becoming a fighter seemed impossible, but Ngannou's drive was unbreakable. When he finally made it to France, his journey was far from over. He faced a new world, a new language, and countless obstacles, but his determination never wavered. Through the adversity, he found his calling in the sport of MMA. Unlike Tyson's traditional route through boxing, Ngannou's rise was built in the cage, where he had to prove himself against a variety of opponents, each with their own set of skills. But it was the raw power in his fists that quickly caught the attention of the world. Knockouts, one after the other, each more brutal than the last. When he became the UFC heavyweight champion, it was clear Ngannou was not just a champion. He was a new breed of fighter. But Tyson's name is like a shadow, looming over the entire fight. To Tyson, this isn't just a bout for supremacy. It's a chance to prove that even in his twilight years, he can still hang with the most feared fighters in the world. Tyson's been through the highs of unimaginable glory, but also the lows of personal struggles that have kept him out of the ring for periods of time. There's something to be said for someone who's been knocked down repeatedly in life, yet still manages to rise. Tyson's story is one of redemption, of proving that the true test of a champion isn't just how many titles they hold, but how they handle the lows as much as the highs. As the fight progresses, Tyson's experience starts to show. He dances around Ngannou's wild swings, dodging and slipping with the kind of speed that defies his years. But Ngannou is patient. He knows Tyson's best weapon is his ability to outlast opponents. And so, Ngannou waits for his moment, biding his time, knowing that one punch can end it all. Tyson's movements grow more fluid, more calculated. He knows he has to pick his shots carefully, waiting for the exact moment when Ngannou's guard slips, just enough for Tyson to land a clean strike. Every second counts. But the more Tyson moves, the more Ngannou's corner becomes restless. Ngannou is fast, but Tyson's movements are lightning quick. The Frenchman has a weapon that could potentially finish the fight at any moment, but Tyson's elusiveness keeps him just out of range. As the rounds pass, the atmosphere in the arena becomes increasingly charged with anticipation. The fans, who initially came to see a showdown of brute force, are now witnessing the strategy and intelligence of a seasoned veteran. Tyson's ability to adapt, to read his opponent's next move before they even make it, is what sets him apart. However, the tension continues to build as Ngannou grows more aggressive, pressing the attack. With every round, Tyson's stamina is tested. How long can he continue to evade the crushing blows of the much younger Ngannou? With each brutal exchange, the question looms larger. Is Tyson still the man he once was, or is Ngannou the future of the heavyweight division? Just when it seems like Tyson might regain control of the fight, Ngannou unleashes a combination of hooks and uppercuts that send the crowd into a frenzy. Tyson is staggered once again, but this time he doesn't backpedal. Instead, he stands his ground, eyes locked on Ngannou, as if daring him to bring everything he has. Tyson knows this fight might not be about winning. It's about surviving the onslaught, proving to the world that even the most terrifying power can be weathered by experience and heart. But as the rounds drag on, a deeper question begins to emerge from the shadows. Is Tyson simply outmatched? Will Ngannou's unrelenting power eventually break the iron will of the former champion? Or will Tyson pull off the impossible, once again defying the odds to remind everyone why he was, and still is, a legend in the ring? As the bell rings for the fifth round, the tension inside the arena reaches a boiling point. Tyson's movements are slower now, his breathing heavier. But there's something in his eyes, a glint of resolve that hasn't faded despite the onslaught he's faced. He's taken shots that would have knocked most men out cold, but Tyson isn't just any man. His willpower, his unshakable belief in his own ability to come back from the brink, is what's kept him standing thus far. But even he knows, the longer this fight goes on, the more likely it is that Ngannou's sheer force will take its toll. Tyson needs to end this soon. Ngannou, on the other hand, remains calm. His strikes are brutal, but he's not reckless. He's learned to pace himself, conserving energy for the right moment. He's aware of Tyson's incredible endurance, and he knows this fight could go the distance if he's not careful. But he also knows that Tyson, despite his legendary status, has never faced a fighter quite like him. The raw power of Ngannou's fists could break even the most seasoned champions, and as he circles Tyson, his eyes locked on his prey, he starts to feel it. This could be the moment he finally silences the doubters once and for all. The sixth round begins, and Tyson, now visibly winded, takes a step forward, almost daring Ngannou to meet him in the center of the ring. The crowd, sensing the shift in energy, grows silent. It's as if everyone knows that something is about to happen, something that could change the course of this fight. Tyson, despite the punishment he's endured, seems to grow more focused, more determined with each passing second. He's adapting, reading Ngannou's movements, anticipating what comes next. The younger fighter, sensing Tyson's shift in demeanor, starts to move more cautiously, perhaps questioning whether he's underestimated the old champion. Suddenly, with the kind of speed only someone with Tyson's experience can muster, he lunges forward. In a flash, he lands a jab to Ngannou's face, snapping his head back. It's not a knockout blow, but it's enough to shake Ngannou for a split second. The crowd erupts, caught off guard by Tyson's resurgence. It's the first sign of life, Tyson shown in what feels like an eternity. The seasoned fighter hasn't lost his touch, not by a long shot. But just as Tyson begins to press forward, Ngannou answers with a crushing uppercut. The force of it sends Tyson's body spinning, and for a brief moment, the crowd holds its collective breath. Tyson stumbles back, his legs wobbly, but he doesn't fall. He remains on his feet, eyes wide, adrenaline coursing through him like a second wind. It's the kind of moment where most fighters would have been counted out, but Tyson's heart is as much a weapon as his fists. The arena is on its feet, watching a spectacle they never thought they'd witness. A man who has been through it all, staring down the storm that is Ngannou. But then something happens that no one saw coming. As Tyson regains his balance, he moves to close the distance again, his body leaning forward with an almost predatory focus. But in a split second, just as he's about to make his move, something strange catches his eye. It's a brief moment, a flicker of uncertainty in Ngannou's gaze just for an instant, but it's enough. Tyson, with his years of experience and ability to read people, knows when a fighter is doubting himself. It's subtle, almost imperceptible, but Tyson knows it could be the opening he needs. Before anyone can fully process what's happening, Tyson makes his move. With a speed that defies the wear and tear of the previous rounds, he charges forward, throwing a combination of hooks and a vicious uppercut. His punches are clean, sharp, and direct, landing flush on Ngannou's jaw. The force of the punches rattles the young champion, and for the first time in the fight, Ngannou's feet seem to slip. It's as if Tyson, in that split second of doubt, has found the chink in Ngannou's armor. But just when it seems like Tyson might finally gain the upper hand, a shocking twist throws everything into chaos. As Tyson presses forward, he suddenly staggers, his face contorting in pain. The crowd falls into stunned silence. Tyson's body crumples, and he falls to one knee in injury. A misstep? No one knows for sure, but what's clear is that something has gone terribly wrong. The air in the arena is thick with disbelief. Tyson, the man who's taken punches from the best, has dropped to his knee in front of Ngannou. Is it over? Has Tyson, with all his heart, stamina, and grit, finally met his match? Or is this just another moment in his storied career where he digs deeper than anyone ever thought possible? Ngannou, standing tall, looks down at Tyson, his expression unreadable. He's not celebrating, not yet. His focus is unwavering, and his fists are clenched. For the first time, a sense of uncertainty creeps in. Could Tyson be faking it? Could he have used this moment to lure Ngannou into a trap? The seconds stretch on like an eternity. The referee steps in, checking on Tyson, but the old champion looks up, eyes blazing with that familiar fire. He's not done, not yet. With a grunt, Tyson pushes himself off the canvas, his legs still shaky, but his resolve unbroken. The crowd erupts in a mixture of cheers and gasps. Tyson's rise is legendary. His heart is indomitable. But even he knows that one misstep could end it all. And in that tense moment, as Tyson stares Ngannou down, something changes. The battle isn't over yet, but both men know now that this fight will decide more than just a winner. It's a battle for the soul of combat itself. The next punch could be the one that decides it all. Who will walk away from this clash, and who will be left to face the consequences of the ultimate showdown? The clock is ticking, and the stakes have never been higher. The air in the arena is electric, charged with anticipation as Tyson slowly regains his footing, each step seeming more uncertain than the last. The crowd is holding its breath, unsure whether they're witnessing the final moments of a legendary fighter's career or the start of a miraculous comeback. Tyson's knee still trembles under his weight, but his eyes burn with the same fire that once ignited his reign as the most feared heavyweight in the world. Ngannou watches him closely, unwavering, his face a mask of calm, yet the slight twitch in his clenched fists tells a different story. He's ready, but a part of him can't help but wonder just how far can Tyson push before his body finally gives way. In a split second, Tyson's head clears. He knows his time is running out. The pain in his leg, the exhaustion creeping into his every movement doesn't matter anymore. It's all about one final push. He's been in this position before, backed into a corner, written off by the world, and yet somehow always finding a way to rise. This time, though, the stakes are higher. The world has changed, and Ngannou is a force unlike any Tyson has ever faced. But Tyson is still Tyson. As Ngannou advances, calculating his next move, Tyson unleashes a combination of jabs and hooks, sharp, precise, relentless. It's the kind of speed and power only a fighter with his experience could possess. The punches land cleanly, but it's the way Tyson shifts his weight, the way he uses his footwork to stay just out of reach of Ngannou's devastating blows, that's the real magic. For a moment, it seems like the old Mike Tyson is back, the invincible, untouchable champion who once made entire arenas tremble. Ngannou, visibly taken aback, stumbles slightly, his confidence faltering for the briefest of moments. And then, the unthinkable happens. As Tyson moves in for the kill, his foot slips. The slightest misstep, just enough to throw him off balance, and in that instant, Ngannou seizes the opportunity. With a primal roar, he drives his fist into Tyson's midsection, the impact resounding through the arena like a thunderclap. Tyson's eyes widen in shock as the air is knocked out of him, his body folding under the sheer force of the punch. For a moment, it feels like time itself has stopped. Tyson's chest rises and falls in ragged breaths, his vision blurring as he sinks to the mat, unable to fight against the weight of the blow. The crowd falls into a stunned silence. It's over. Ngannou stands tall, his expression unreadable as the referee begins the count. Tyson's body is still, his chest barely rising and falling as the seconds tick away. The fight has taken everything from him. But even in the depths of this moment, when it seems like his story has come to an end, Tyson's mind is still racing, still searching for a way out. But with each passing second, his vision begins to fade, and the harsh truth settles in. He might not get up this time. Then, in an unexpected twist, something remarkable happens. With just a fraction of a second left on the clock, Tyson's hand twitches. It's barely noticeable at first, but then, like the heartbeat of a fighter that refuses to die, his body begins to rise. Slowly, agonizingly, he pulls himself to one knee, the crowd erupting into a frenzy. Tyson's eyes lock with Ngannou's, a quiet challenge, a defiance that no amount of physical punishment can erase. He's not done. Not yet. Yet. The fight isn't over until he says it is. The tension is palpable, the entire arena on the edge of their seats as Tyson, through sheer willpower, stands once again. He's beaten, bruised, and broken, but the fire in his eyes tells a different story. The referee, unsure whether to call the fight, looks to Tyson for any sign of weakness, any indication that this truly is the end. Tyson, sweat pouring down his face, gives a barely perceptible nod. He's not out. Not by a long shot. With the crowd still in awe, Ngannou steps forward, his expression now one of begrudging respect. This fight, which had seemed to be a clear path to victory for the younger champion, has turned into something more. Tyson may not have the raw power he once possessed, but his heart, his grit, his indomitable spirit, those things are still stronger than ever. The final moments of the fight are a blur. Tyson, though weakened, is still dangerous, landing a few clean shots to Ngannou's face that momentarily disorient him. But it's clear the battle has taken everything from Tyson, and his movements are sluggish, his strikes not as sharp as they once were. Ngannou, now fully aware of the challenge Tyson's presence, steps up his game. With one last powerful punch, he lands a devastating blow that sends Tyson crashing to the mat once more. This time, there is no rise. Tyson's body hits the canvas, and this time, it's over. The referee counts to 10, and the bell rings. Ngannou, his chest heaving, stands victorious, but it's not a celebration of triumph. It's a solemn acknowledgement of the battle he's just been through. In that moment, Ngannou's respect for Tyson grows tenfold. The fight has changed him, forced him to dig deeper than he ever thought possible. Tyson, though defeated, has won in a way no one expected. The crowd is on their feet, chanting his name, recognizing the warrior spirit he displayed. Though he didn't leave the ring with the championship, he leaves with something far greater, a legacy that no defeat can tarnish. Ngannou, for all his power, has finally understood what it means to face a true legend. As the arena slowly empties and the lights fade, Tyson's name echoes through the air, a reminder that true champions never fade away quietly. They leave their mark on the world, and no matter how many times they fall, they always rise again. Tyson's journey isn't over. He's proven that. And in the end, the world witnessed something much greater than just a fight. They witnessed a testament to the power of resilience and to the heart of a true champion.